This meeting is now called to order. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cloninger?
Here.
Mrs. Cons?
Here.
Mr. Lavalley?
Here.
Mr. Salt?
Here.
Mr. Temby?
Here. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Colonel Sullivan.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic on which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Mattson, are there any updates to the agenda?
There were updates to the agenda and the board was notified of these.
Members of the board, are there any items you wish to remove from the consent agenda? Are there any items to be added to the agenda? May we have a motion to approve the agenda? So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cloninger?
Aye.
Mrs. Cons?
Aye.
Mr. Lavalley?
Aye.
Mr. Salt?
Aye.
Mr. Temby?
Aye. Board quote is Colonel Sullivan.
All right, good evening, everyone. It's a long quote. I won't read it all to you, but
Please read it.
You want me to read it?
Yes.
Okay. It is not the critic who counts, not the person who points out how the strong one stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the one who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends oneself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if one fails, at least fails while daring greatly. So the one's place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. So as Teddy Roosevelt, he was traveling through Africa and then Europe doing diplomacy and hunting. I'm not sure which order that was, but it was back in 1910. He gave this speech called Citizenship in the Republic at the Sorbonne University in Paris. And I like this particular excerpt of the speech because I think it applies to everyone's efforts in the room and online today. And the speech is 112 years old, so I took some poetic liberty and adjusted some of the pronouns to make it a little more inclusive and appropriate for today. But we all have our individual arenas that we face in our daily lives. And specific to this setting, I just wanted to say I admire all the parents, all the teachers, all the staff, all the District 20 citizens that are here in the audience today, because you're not just sitting at home worrying or complaining about an issue, but you're actually taking action and coming here and being part of the process. For those who are going to be part of the public comment, you've taken the time, you've researched, you've prepared your comments, and you're willing to deliver those in front of everybody here. And I just want to say I admire Mr. Gregory, the cabinet, the teachers, the staff, and all the elected board members here, because I know, having been a part of this group for a year now, fully confident that every one of them are extraordinary teammates doing absolutely everything they can to give the best possible educational opportunity to our students, our teachers, and our staff. So I just urge you, in the spirit of this quote, that if you get that chance to dare greatly, then go out there and do it. Thank you.
Thanks, Colonel Sullivan. Next is introduction of new administrators. Mr. Gregory.
Yes, Mr. Smart, please.
I don't think so. It says don't press the button. Okay, there we go. Okay, sorry. It always seems to start off that way when I come up here for these things, doesn't it? Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. Tonight, we have two folks that we're going to introduce to you as recommendations for administrative positions in our district. And they have met all the requirements. They have also went through a rigorous interview evaluation process where they were vetted and have completed that. So I'm going to start off with, I'm going to introduce Amy Griffin, who is being recommended as the Eagle View Middle School Interim Assistant Principal. And she is joined this evening by Chris, her significant other. Amy holds a Bachelor of Arts in Education from the University of Michigan. And go blue, I think that's what they say, right? Go blue. And a Master's of Arts in Education and Educational Leadership from Regis University. Amy started her educational career here in D20 at Discovery Canyon Campus Middle School as a language and literature teacher and continues to serve at DCC Middle School. She has served as a team lead and currently serves as the interim dean at Discovery Canyon Campus Middle School. We are pleased to present Amy to you tonight for the position of Eagle View Middle School Interim Assistant Principal. Amy, is there anything you'd like to say? All right, come on up.
I would like to thank everyone at DCC for all of the opportunity they've given me to learn and grow as a leader in a very student-centered and collaborative environment. And I'm really looking forward to going to Eagle View and taking what I've learned in a very similar student-centered and collaborative atmosphere. I have been in D20 since I moved to Colorado, first as a parent of one of my children who just ran from work and is standing at the door. And then as a teacher, and I'm very excited to continue to grow in the community that I call home. Thank you.
And he made it. Here he is. Thanks. All right, the next person I'd like to introduce is Kaylee Maxwell, who's being recommended as the Air Academy High School Interim Assistant Principal / Athletic Director. Kaylee is here by herself tonight. One thing is she does coach lacrosse, so we're now needing a lacrosse coach. So if anybody wants to step up and coach lacrosse, we'd be happy to help you do that. Kaylee holds a Bachelor of Science in Physical Education, Teaching and Coaching from Long Island University, and a Master of Arts in Education and Leadership from the University of Northern Colorado here in Greeley. Kaylee started her educational career here in District 2 as at Panorama Middle School as a PE teacher, and she has served as a PE teacher at Air Academy High School for over 5 years. Kaylee also serves as the head girls lacrosse coach, as I said, and we are pleased to present Kaylee to you tonight as for the position of Air Academy High School Interim Assistant Principal Athletic Director. Kaylee, anything you'd like to say? Okay, she has a 30-minute speech ready.
Short and sweet, don't worry. I would just like to thank everyone for the opportunity. I'm super excited to get started. I'm actually going to be heading out as soon as I can to a meeting at DCC with the athletic director. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to the board. Thank you to the administration at Air Academy. Can't wait to get started. Thanks.
And at this time, I think we have filled all our admin positions so far. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smart. Thank you, Mr. Gregory. What we do now is we will take a little break so we can say hi, congratulate. We actually will vote on you in a few minutes. You don't need to stay. Almost no one does. You can if you want to, but we just want to take a 5-minute break now just to congratulate. So without further ado, 5 minutes. All right. Ms. Cortez, do we have anyone signed up to speak to the board this evening?
This evening, we have 6 individuals signed up to speak.
I have 7, but,
We had 1 cancellation.
oh, okay, gotcha. That's fine. The board welcomes public comments. In the interest of respecting the time of all who are present, speakers must have signed up to address the board prior to 4 p.m. today, and they must limit their remarks to 2 minutes or less. We also ask speakers to address the board and not others in the room. All speakers will be notified of the remaining time via the mounted monitors behind the dais. When the time has ended, the microphone will turn off. Supplemental written materials can be given to the security guards who are seated in the hallway outside the boardroom, and they will be delivered to the board secretary. Profanity or any disrespectful behavior will not be tolerated. We greatly value all comments from the public. However, the board will not respond this evening.
Our first speaker is Kathleen Troca.
Good evening. My name is Kathleen Troca. My family has lived in D20 for almost 30 years, and our children attend D20 schools. We have the unfortunate position of both living near the proposed Sunset Amphitheater and also having a kid at DCC. It recently came to our attention that this venue has virtually no parking and will be paying the district to use the DCC lot. We think this is a terrible idea to rent out our school parking lot and bus 8,000 concert goers throughout the neighborhood. It will only encourage them to park closer and walk. Our safety and property values will be directly affected by your decision to accept these funds. I realize that Dr. Smith has given us the detail. I know that you believe all the issues have been addressed, but honestly, how will any of this be enforced? By not renewing the contract? All it takes is one incident, one shootout between drunk attendees, one kid hit by a drunk driver. For an institution whose sole purpose is to help kids thrive, you are selling out our kids and our neighborhood's safety for a fraction of what's necessary to successfully run our district. It will be a bell that you can't unring. And where will you draw the line in allowing local businesses to rent out our facilities? Will anyone be turned away? Renting the parking lot is not an equivalent to hosting Lego robotics camp over the summer or allowing churches to use the facilities on Sunday morning. This is a pivotal moment for the district. I believe that the schools should not be funded by private companies. There's a conflict of interest. As someone that ran a campaign for the last Board of Education election, I know large sums of dark money were funneled into some of your campaigns. I find it hard to believe that that money won't come with strings attached. You as board should be representing the homeowners and the parents, not big business. The district's belief that Sunset developers can be counted on to do the right thing is naive. Their purpose is to make money. We've had a front row seat on how developers in this town have made promises and then not followed through. Please reconsider allowing them to use our school parking lot for their venue. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jennifer Mattis.
Hello. Nicole, thank you for your help yesterday with IC. I got our yearbook ordered. And thank you for last month's meeting and you're bringing up the topic of the value of civility at the podium. I was concerned last fall when you were silent about the issues in the atrium where some people in a local group made some racist remarks and threatened D20 families. I appreciate the prior board's decision to remove the atrium as overflow for civility and the safety of D20 families. During the same message exchange last fall, you told me you fully supported your husband using the phrase, "Let's go Brandon" at board meetings, even though it did not benefit the civil discourse. Now that you have had several months in your board position, I thank you for realizing that civility is what is best and safest for all. Last month you said, "We want to set the best example for our students." I agree wholeheartedly. That is why I hope the discussion continued on the other side of the dais, so when Aaron and other board members decide to attend future religious events in their personal capacity, you are each aware that setting the best example for our students is by not mocking D20 families. Aaron, thank you for finally responding to my email regarding why you chose not to sign the declaration from the PPLD's board's public rebuttal against some of the false accusations made in the Gazette editorial several months ago. The PPLD board statement says, "We collectively stand firm that PPLD should be a bastion for democracy that protects First Amendment rights for all." You chose not to sign this letter. You said you stand with accessibility and providing books for the community. I thank you for that. This does concern me though, because the Gazette did report a couple months ago that you want to blacklist and whitelist books. I chose purposely to email your D20 email rather than your PPLD address because both positions are directly connected. If you're not aware, several D20 school libraries are served by PPLD. There is a big difference in providing accessibility versus standing firm to protect the First Amendment rights for all. I wish all students and staff a happy and safe school year.
Our next speaker, and Jed, I hope I get your last name right. Fuqua? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jed Fuqua. I'm a father of 2 TCA kids. I'm mainly concerned about the proposed arrangements made with our taxpayer dollars for District 20 school parking spaces to be rented for profit for a neighboring proposed Sunset Amphitheater. For public documents, they're needing approximately 1,204 parking spaces. I, as a parent, would like to request a separate public hearing voicing concerns with you. However, before this public hearing, I would like to request 2 things. First, all the details and arrangements in written form to be published to all D20 impacted parents of students attending TCA and DCC. Number 2, parents of active students should be able to vote yes or no on these agreements because this will result in direct impact to us as parents when we leave the school in the afternoon and after school events regarding traffic. This isn't just a one-time rental of a soccer field. We are actually tied at the hip to help sustain a developer's parking efficiency. Concerts of this magnitude are known for drugs and other illicit paraphernalia. I don't want my kids exposed to or have to deal with finding such things in walking paths, parking lots, play areas, and surrounding border regions between TCA, and that amphitheater is very close. If parking is built on premise for this amphitheater, this would solve much of these concerns, pulling localized volumes of traffic into that venue and safeguarding it with the proper police in that one place, away from our kids, away from the schools.
Thank you. Your time's up.
Our next speaker is Jody Fletcher.
Good evening. Title IX opens as with on the basis of sex, which defines not only gender, but also identity. There has been an open attack in our community on LGBTQA+ students, and they have legal protections codified in law. You are moving down a slippery and very dangerous road if you try to eliminate clubs such as Allies, Liberty Student Union, and groups that embrace and celebrate diverse student populations. This is not only a violation of Title IX, but it's also a violation of the Constitution, our precious right to assemble. These violations will be considered arbitrary and capricious. When you no longer make good local education agency decisions, you're opening the door for outside agencies such as the Department of Justice, the Office of Civil Rights, the state, to come in and make these decisions for you. They will come in and they will provide oversight and real adult supervision to make sure that our students are safe and protected. If this is the legacy that you want to leave, please go ahead and by all means do so. Ban these student groups. I honestly prefer that my tax dollars are used to fund educational opportunities, not lawsuits. I did see that there was a Title IX position posted. I don't know if that's a new position in the district, but I think that person is going to be very busy because there's a ton of social media chatter about trying to get these groups shut down because of hate. We need to stop hating. We need to start loving. Career educator, been in this district as an educator. I've been an administrator in 2 other districts for many, many years. Our job is to love, protect, and keep our kids and our schools safe. And if you are setting a precedent that not doing so is okay based on gender and/or identity, then we're opening up this district to significant litigation.
Our next speaker is Charlotte Johnson.
Good evening. My name is Charlotte. I'm the parent of 2 high school students in D20. I'm also an advanced practice provider in anesthesia at a local hospital. There are many reasons for the district to provide high quality, evidence-based sex ed for our middle and high schoolers. The first of which is very straightforward. Colorado law requires it. I've explained this in detail before and will again if necessary. The next reason is that there's plenty of evidence saying that comprehensive sex ed curriculum is more effective than abstinence-based education in reducing sexual activity, number of partners, unprotected intercourse, STIs, and adolescent pregnancy. That's right. Comprehensive curriculum actually leads to teens having less sex than just telling them not to do it. We all have teens, right? Third reason is a little more esoteric. For most people, sex ed in middle and high school is the only formal education that they will receive on the topic in their entire lifetimes. Without it, they'll likely never get the information they need for when they are sexually active adults, either trying to not have children or when they are trying to start a family. It's important for the information to be age appropriate. Yes, it's not a green light to have sex before they're ready. It's not explicit instructions on how to have sex, despite what you may have heard. It looks like when you're ready to start a family, this is the medically appropriate information. It looks like when you do become sexually active, this is how to be safe. I want my children to be educated adults. The law does allow for you to opt out. That's your parental right. It's a far easier compromise than it seems. My children's right to have an accurate education doesn't change your right to keep your child home, and vice versa. One last thing, before I studied medicine, I was an historian. I studied how to recognize propaganda. You're going to hear people making claims about grooming, sexualizing our children, etc. They're just trying to scare you. Make no mistake. This is sensationalist, fear-mongering propaganda meant to scare well-meaning people. Don't let that baloney drive our curriculum. We're better than that and smarter than that here. Thank you.
Our final speaker this evening is Edward Waldrop.
Try to work this a little better. I'm still getting used to having hair too, so work with me here. My name is Dr. Eddie Waldrop. I'm a D20 parent and resident. And my comments here today are my own and not reflective of any institution. I have learned that the school district has paid over $45,000 to a consultation group called CEI. And I don't want to see another dollar of my taxpayer money going to a consultant group that is trying to impose basically socialism in my daughter's education or anyone else's education. Their stated commitment on their website is to infuse their 6 tenets into every system that they can. They make the same socialist claims of any outcomes or disparities are due to the system. Any gaps in education, anything like this is always the system. It's the only way they kind of think about these things. And this has been debunked so thorough, but so many times at different levels of analyses that it's kind of dumbfounding to see how this keeps coming back up. They note the disrupting bias in this system. And that's another very socialist and Marxist kind of framework that they work with. The system, however, is made of people. And I don't believe that our teachers, our administrators, or anyone else are biased against any group, not for a second. They also want to turn our kids into activists. It says it right there on their website, you know, activating our kids. We look to our children being educated, to have the barriers removed, so they have as much access to equality of opportunity as they possibly can. We want our children to be taught, not to be taught how to be activists. So I request that any and all ties to CEI be ended immediately and reconceptualizing our strategic plan to improve academic outcomes for all students. And I'd like to thank you for your time and your dedication to our students and to our community.
That concludes our speakers for this evening.
All right, thank you, Ms. Cortez. Board comments, Ms. Cons.
Okay. Mr. Sacalidi has a few photos for me. So even though school hasn't started, I was super excited to actually be at Rampart yesterday. Mrs. Cloninger was there too, because both of our kiddos are starting 9th grade there. And just to give another shout out, super excited that the AVID program is expanded into early college programming. So that's why our kids are excited to be there. This is some of our admin and support staff, Mrs. Miller, Allison, I think on the left, Mr. Chamberlain back there, an assistant principal, welcoming all the freshmen and seniors yesterday with a smile. Some of our Rampart parent organization gals, I think they sold a ton, especially to the freshmen. It was like crickets when the seniors were there. I think they have all their gear, but so they were there all day, today and yesterday, I think. Our brand new principal that we're so happy to have, Megan Sanders, there at Rampart. And then of course, some senior boys. They started walking by me and I said, did they actually let you take your ID photos like this? And they were very proud of themselves for drawing their mustaches. So I thought they were super cute. So I had to take a picture of them. I guess some seniors last year, Air Academy, all dressed in 80s clothes for their ID. So I love when the kids kind of get to have a little leeway to express their uniqueness. So that was it. Thank you for the photos. So I think all of our middle schools and high schools at least had their check-in days this week. So as you can see, there's a lot of excitement and anticipation for all the positive things to come for this year. And my call to all of us in the district is let's hold dear to that excitement and anticipation all year long. What we aim at is what we get. Where our thoughts go is what manifests in our lives. It was so exciting to be with all of our new teachers, hundreds of new teachers yesterday at Pine Creek. And we are so thankful for all of them and all of our already existing teachers to be a part of this tremendous community at D20. My wish for all of our teachers and staff this year is that you find more joy than you find troubles, that you delight each day in the gifts of children you teach, their humor, their talent, when they master a concept that you were the one able to finally teach them. When needed, advocate for yourself decisively and wisely. None of us should ever let important things left unsaid. Students, my wish for you this year is always hope above all else. Hope in all the opportunities that lay before you. Hope and thrill in learning an awesome new skill or concept, in connecting with someone new that just gets you, in pushing your comfort zone to try clubs and activities, or even just to answer in class when you know the right answer. A wish that we all recognize the humanity and beautiful uniqueness in everyone we come in contact with. My grandma gave me a book when I graduated. I think it was called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and it's all small stuff, or that was just one of the chapters that struck me the most. But that sentiment has never left me, and I hope all of us in our district hold on to it when we need it. Don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. Every sunrise brings a new beginning to each one of us. When you doubt, find something new to be hopeful for. When you fail, rejoice that you put the effort into trying. When others do well, celebrate them and let it be inspiration for you to achieve all that is possible.
Thank you, Ms. Cons. Colonel Sullivan.
Yes, sir. Just one quick comment. I want to publicly thank Rich Payne and his security team. A couple weeks ago, he brought my security forces squadron into training for active shooter training at Air Academy High School. And Air Academy High School and Doug Valley Elementary are different, being on a federal institution. It was the first time my defenders had ever been brought into that training. Had over 4 dozen people there. Hopefully, we never have to use it, but the fact that we were brought in and got so much value out of that training, and I think is a very mutual benefit. I just want to say thank you and look forward to more opportunities to cooperate with you and your team.
Thanks, Colonel Sullivan. Ms. Cloninger?
If I seem a little bit tired, it's because I had my 4 nephews for the last week, and they're 4 to 13, and my children are 15 and 17. So all of you parents who are getting ready to send littles back to elementary. I mean, what a godsend the next week or so is going to be. That said, I had a lot of opportunity to be out and around the community this past couple of weeks since our last meeting. One of the things that I was able to do was go down to the downtown area and celebrate Pride in this city, which I thought was extremely important for showing inclusion for our students. But I went there as my own Heather Cloninger. But I also wanted to be seen as somebody that would always be an ally, and I will. And I also, on the same thought process, I was sitting down this last couple of weeks with a couple of friends of mine who have spoken at this podium in opposition to inclusivity. And we had a really good dialogue about what that means and why I will always be for every single student in this district. I will stand up for all of your students, all of you that are here in the room and all of you that are listening. But I was elected, I believe, to be a part of this district leadership to look over all of your children. And you don't have to agree with everything that I do or think, but know that your children are safe with me. We had the opportunity, and I also have a couple of pictures. Well, I come with slideshows, so that's the rest of you copy. No, just kidding, Nicole. I'm happy to celebrate Rampart. This was a really beautiful shot. Actually, Mr. Temby took it for me. Mr. Temby and myself and Mr. Gregory were able to go up to the USAFA groundbreaking of the Visitor Center, and Colonel Sullivan, of course, was there, to the USAFA Visitor Center in True North Commons, which will be an amazing facility when it's completed. And it was such a beautiful backdrop, and there were a lot of people. You can scroll through. The Mayor Southers was there, Lieutenant Governor Primavera was there, and this is General Clark, the superintendent of the academy. His daughter actually graduated from Air Academy last May, so he's been just a huge help to this district and advocate. And I promised we looked for you, Will, but you had already left. And so this is our old liaison. No, we would have made room. Our old liaison, Colonel Johnson, and our current one, Colonel Sullivan, and myself and Mr. Gregory. And it was just a really nice, I think, well-attended groundbreaking. And so I look forward to seeing that when it is the ribbon cutting. I think that's my last picture. Then I also just wanted to say that I also had the opportunity to go to the new licensed staff orientation yesterday at Pine Creek. And I think some of them looked a little like deer in the headlights, and some of them looked very seasoned and ready to go. And I hope that after they had their day there and in the coming weeks that they will feel very comfortable with being in our district. And I appreciate the cabinet who did so much work and put their efforts into that. So I am grateful for hopefully a normal year, and for the opportunity that our kids have to be back with each other and learning from each other and from good teachers that we have here. So thank you very much for all that you guys bring to the table as well.
Thank you, Ms. Cloninger. Mr. Salt.
Thank you. I also was able to attend. I think all of us were at the event for the new teachers yesterday. It was a lot of fantastic energy. We had teachers that have never spent a day in the classroom. We have new teachers, or new to the district, that have been there for over 30 years and everywhere in between. We had a D20 alum, we had people from out of state, and I believe, Mr. Cameron, you're going to tell us later about a few that we had that were international too, that were coming in. So just a great brand new group of teachers coming in. It was a lot of fun energy, so I was really excited to be part of that. So thanks for letting us join you. Other than that, I'm just really excited for the school year coming up. We're closing in. I know the next week we get to go do our school tours, week after, next week? 2 weeks, okay, it's coming up. But I'm really looking forward to it and getting out there and getting the school year started. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. LaValle.
Thank you, Mr. Salt. Mr. Temby.
Thanks, Mr. LaValle. I'm not sure what constitutes normal, but I'm looking forward to a more normal start to the school year in just a few days. It's been quite a journey over the past 2 years. I'm entering my 28th school year in D20 this fall and couldn't be prouder of this district. I want to publicly recognize our superintendent, senior leadership team, our principals, and our entire staff for not only holding this district together over the past 2 years, but also keeping us above the fray that has consumed us as a nation since 2020. I'm not sure when and where our country went off the rails in terms of losing our ability to agree or disagree civilly. We've allowed national narratives on both sides of the aisle to stoke fear and apply sweeping generalizations to what heretofore isolated situations that were resolved at the site level by reasonable people. I believe we all agree that our primary job here is to prepare our students for post-secondary success. Like almost every school district in the world, we have had some speed bumps due to a global pandemic. The tone and tenor of our meetings is changing. It is palpable and it is heartening. We are now focusing more energy back on student achievement, social and emotional health, dealing with learning loss as the result of the pandemic, retaining and attracting talented team members, and much more. Whatever normal is, I welcome it and look forward to all of us being unified on sustaining the excellence in D20. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Temby. Can y'all hear me? Yep. Okay. I too attended, by the way, y'all said a lot more than probably I'm going to say. I agree with what y'all said, and I appreciated your words. It was fascinating, the new hire training, and I remember this from last year. You would think that there'd be a bunch of 22-year-olds who were all bright and bubbly, and there were a few, to be sure, but there were. There was I think someone who had been teaching for 32 years was there as a new teacher in D20, and it sort of made me proud to think that we are still the district of choice, which is great. We just have a wonderful district. We have great current teachers. We're going to have great new teachers. I only got a chance to visit with a couple of them, but it was just really good to see. And I know that I think Mr. Smart probably organized a lot of that training, but I know that you all had a hand in it. So I really appreciate that. I attended a movie last night. It's called Whose Children Are They? I'm not going to really comment on the movie, but it reminded me of something that it's the parents. And to the district's credit, I think we do a great job of saying, parents, you have a right to know what's going on in your kid's school. But it reminded me to say, yes, parents, you have a right to know what's going on. And I'm very thankful that we have a great district, but it was just a good reminder for me because sometimes we get lost. We think, oh, we're in charge and we're the ones. It's like, we work ultimately for parents, right? The rank order here is there's the superintendent, and then there's us, and then above us are the parents, and I also say taxpayers and voters. But anyways, it was just good. I think that is all I had to say, although this is going to sound like a real weak excuse. You all saw me come in a little bit late. I live off of Baptist Road, and I pulled onto the interstate, and I look up, and there's nothing but red lights. The interstate was basically closed. So I will just say that I did some creative driving to get here. So in case you're wondering, here's the board president just strolling in, 15 minutes prior. That's not normal, but I just got stuck in bad traffic. So without further ado, administrative comments, Mr. Gregory.
Yes, thank you. And before I start, I'll apologize if I repeat some of the stuff, but there's a lot of important events, so I think much of it is worth repeating. But this week, we welcome back to our principals and assistant principals, our new teachers, counselors, and classified staff to the new school year. On Monday, principals returned for our annual kind of first day back retreat. On Wednesday, as you've heard, nearly 300 new teachers and counselors joined the district to begin their orientation. And just today, we said hello again to our classified staff members. Just as a reminder, next week, we welcome all I'll say returning teachers. I won't use the word old. Our returning teachers come back next week, and then of course the week after that, where did our students go? Our students get to come back, right? So the countdown is on, and we're nearing the first day for everybody to be back. Last week, I joined thousands of educators from across the state at the annual Colorado Association of School Executives conference meeting in Breckenridge. It was a great conference, and I'm proud that District 20 was once again well represented at a statewide event. The conference was kicked off by 4 very talented Chinook Trail Elementary School 5th graders, Lucas Hine, Colin Wong, Angelina McKinney, and Noah Lee opened the entire conference by singing the national anthem for these in front of, again, I don't think they realized there was a couple thousand people probably in the room, and they probably didn't know that there are like 6 satellite rooms that their performance was being broadcast into also. So they got to open up the conference, and they did it with expertise and again represented District 20 expertly. Thank you to Mrs. Darpino, the school's choir teacher, for leading the group and also for traveling up there on our summer vacation day to be with her students. Additionally, Chinook Trail Elementary School principal, Mr. Pat Shoemaker, ended his leadership term as the president of that organization, and he did so by giving some very inspirational comments to all of the administrators in the room. Mr. Shoemaker represented the district with, and I want to say this, professionalism, dignity, and expertise this past year. And I want to thank him for accepting this role in addition to his role as principal, as a leader in education in Colorado. And also assistant principal, Ms. BJ Campbell, assistant principal at Chinook Trail Elementary School, participated on one of the breakout sessions on a panel that was discussing voice in minority educators. So all of that was about Chinook Trail Elementary School, essentially, right? At a statewide level. Rampart High School junior Izzy Stark is bringing home a gold medal this summer. She was a member of Team USA's U19, 19 and under volleyball team. Last week, the team competed in the Pan Am Cup and won the gold. You may remember that name. I've spoken many times about Miss Stark over the last few years, and her sister. Through the All Kids Bike Program, Academy Endeavor Elementary School received bikes, helmets, and curriculum that teaches kindergarten students how to ride a bike. During their PE classes, students will start to learn how to ride without training wheels and how to safely cross roads and ride bikes safely. Congratulations to Academy Endeavor, and I should say we have several elementary schools now that are participating in that program. And lastly, under the school recognition title, and also under maybe the heading of this just in, Eagleview 8th grade treble, the Eagleview 8th grade treble choir has been selected to perform at the Colorado Music Educators Association annual conference this coming January down here at the Broadmoor. Eagleview is one of just 3 middle school choirs that were selected from the state of Colorado to perform or to receive this honor after submitting an audition at the end of last school year. They will get to perform a concert that showcases the choir and their talents. They also get to discuss rehearsal methods and techniques and shares District 20 student voices with music educators from across the state. So again, another way District 20 is being represented across the state, which is a wonderful thing. A couple updates. First, last spring there was a lot of discussion about changing the Rampart parking lot, the flow and things like that. Some of you had heard some of that discussion, and in fact you heard some of our plans. I wanted to give you an update. But as you know, board, after engaging a third-party consultants to observe and review the flow of traffic in the Rampart parking lot, we developed a plan based on the recommendations this firm provided. The associated timeline identified completion prior to the start of this school year. Last spring, we submitted our redesign plan to the City of Colorado Springs and received approval in a timely manner. I'll put it that way. After that, we submit the plan, or the plan then goes to Colorado Springs Utilities for stormwater review. If any of you are familiar with any of these processes, they can be quite long. But in short, it's been sitting there since. And we have not gotten, and I won't just say approval, but comment even, if there's some issue with it. We have not received comment, and it's still waiting for comment or approval. So if you go to Rampart, you will see that it looks very similar to the way it has been, which was not our plan, which was not our intention. And as soon as we can get something going with the stormwater, and I have said that any way I can help, or anybody in here can help, that would be great, to get this thing moving, because it's, I mean, frankly, I'll just say it's minimal change to anything that has to do with stormwater. A couple of medians will be removed, but other than that, there's not a lot of pervious or impervious changes to the ground. So the principal, Ms. Consha, Ms. Sanders earlier, they have agreed that they will start using human beings to direct the flow of traffic commensurate to what the recommendation was. But the actual construction parts, curbs and gutters and all that stuff won't be there. So we'll try to do it, redirect the flow using humans to start the school year. And if any of you are Rampart student drivers or parents, then please help us with that and follow it's really for student safety and traffic flow to get people in and out more quickly in a safer way. So if you can help follow those Ms. Sanders' directions, that would be helpful until the parking lot can be changed, construction or physically changed. Second update, you'd heard us at the dais and work sessions speak of potentially mill levy overrides or a mill levy override question on the ballot this November. And I just wanted to update where we are on that. After reviewing polling results, Ms. Cortez led an effort to get information from the community, and we did a polling sample of our community. So after reviewing those results, recognizing what is happening with the economy and inflation and possible recession, and recognizing the need that there's a further need to educate both internally and externally, we're deferring an MLO ballot question to November 2023. This will allow us to better educate staff, the community, and board regarding the driving forces, issues, and the needs of the school district. Thank you, Mr. LaValle. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Gregory. Can the event that at the Broadmoor in January, I assume there will be a concert for that. I humbly ask Ms. Matson if you could do a board call for that, because I think I attended one of those a couple years ago and it was awesome, and I think a lot of us would like to go. So that would be great. All right, consent agenda. We need a motion to approve the following resolutions. Resolution 241-22, approval of matters relating to administrative staff license. Resolution 242-22, approval of matters relating to licensed staff teachers. Resolution 243-22, approval of matters relating to licensed staff, licensed support / special services provider. Resolution 244-22, approval of matters relating to classified staff. Resolution 245-22, acceptance of annual monitoring report for GP 4.0 governance commitment. Resolution 246-22, approval of monitoring report evaluation for GP 4.0 governance commitment. Resolution 247-22, acceptance of the annual monitoring report for GP 4.1 composition of the board and the monitoring report evaluation for the same. Resolution 249-22, acceptance of annual monitoring report for GP 4.2 governing styles and values and the monitoring report evaluation for the same. Resolution 251-22, acceptance of annual monitoring report for GP 4.3 board job description and the monitoring report evaluation for the same. Resolution 253-22, acceptance of annual monitoring report for GP 4.4 board meetings and the monitoring report evaluation for the same. Resolution 255-22, approval of Citizens Bond Oversight Committee CBOC membership. Resolution 256-22, approval of contract for special services provider services. Approval of the Board of Education regular meeting minutes from June 16th, 2022. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Cloninger?
Aye.
Mrs. Cons?
Aye.
Mr. LaValle?
Aye.
Mr. Salt?
Aye.
Mr. Temby?
Aye.
There are no items pulled for consent. Next thing is board development. Report on the CBOC, Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, Mr. Gregory.
Yes, I believe we'll just turn it right over to Mr. Brockway. I will remind everyone while he's making his way to the podium that Mr. Brockway is still a parent. I won't say was a parent, but his role as parent has changed over his term because he's been serving this role since 2016. And in that time, his kids have aged in our different schools and different places, but he is one of the few remaining original members, which probably explains why he has to come up every couple of months and talk at the podium. But one of the few original members of the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. So thank you, Mr. Brockway.
Thank you. And, happy to be here tonight. Our group recently met July 20th at Pine Creek High School. Our meeting was led by Chris Gerhardt, behind me here, who briefed us on the financial activity for 3 months ending July 15. We're pleased at this meeting to welcome Aaron Salt as our new Board of Education liaison. Appreciate Aaron's participation in our group. The first report we looked at, the May 15th Bond Building Fund report, had a small increase, just about $24,000 of expenditures and encumbrances compared to April. This increase is largely offset by interest earnings of about $14,000. Those interest earnings are growing as rates are going up in the market. So we're benefiting from that on the deposit side. So that's a good thing that offsets some of our cost. July 15 building fund report wasn't much more exciting. We spent $44,000 of money in that month. And those increases were offset by interest earnings of about $26,000. And also this thing called city sales tax reimbursements of $32,000. The latter, the sales tax reimbursements, we discussed a little more thoroughly at the meeting. And this is and kind of how the process and the paperwork works with the city of Colorado Springs. The district, through its diligence of submitting for these sales tax reimbursements, has received about $50,000 to date. The exciting part is there's probably about $1 million total that's expected to be received from monies that have already been spent on bond projects. So as we work through that paperwork with the city, those monies are coming and will go back into the bond fund. For the July 15 report, there was a modest increase of about $140,000 in expenditures and encumbrances, and that also was offset by interest earnings of about $34,000 and some more sales tax collections of $6,000. As the meeting concluded, the CBOC was given a tour of the pool at Pine Creek and the stadium at Pine Creek. The pool construction is expected to be completed in the spring of 2023, and the stadium a little sooner, August of this year. Those improvements are expected to be done. As the $230 million 2016 approved bond project stands, as of July 15, there's about $19.8 million more work to do. And in our contingency fund, matching up against that $19.8 million is $3.4 million in the contingency fund. So that covers about 17% of the upcoming work. Much of the upcoming work in that $19.8 million resides in the facility audit category, about $3.7 million of work to do there, $2.6 million in technology infrastructure, and then the additional board approved projects that were added. And I talked last quarter about this, about the things we were able to do because of the premium at which the bonds were issued. But some of those additional board approved projects totaled about $6.4 million. It appears that with the smaller number of bond language projects yet to complete, and as well as the board approved additional projects, there are allocated funds for all of these things, and that these should be mostly completed over the next 12 to 24 months. So we can kind of see the end in sight here. Our next meeting is scheduled for October, and I'll brief the Board of Education soon after that. So happy to field any questions.
I can never pass up an opportunity to thank you, Mr. Brockway, for your hard work. You're a volunteer. You've been on this, forever, and I know I got to be on CBOC, and it's always fun just to see. And I said this before, I'm going to say it again. This passed in 2016. Who knew how much a pool was really going to cost? And we are right down to the end, and we're building the pool, and we're not having, we had to do a couple of modifications, but it's 8 lanes, it's beautiful. We've been able to do what we told the voters and the taxpayers that we would do. And I think that's important to say that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think that's an accomplishment for everybody to be proud of. Absolutely. Anyone else? Thank you.
Mr. LaValle, if I might real quick.
Please.
You can go ahead and go, Mr. Brockway. This report was 47 pages long. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew why. If you look at it, it's really 3 reports. It's a report since Mr. Brockway hasn't been back for 3 months. It's a report through May, the middle of May, then the same report duplicated through the middle of June, then the same report duplicated through the middle of July. And I would just say, if it's okay with the board, not a resolution, not a vote, but the next time Mr. Brockway comes back, we could just give the latest, since it's a cumulative report. If we just present the most recent months, it will include all of that prior data. And we could cut down the report from 47 to a third of that, essentially, if the board's okay with that. Yeah. I know how Mr. LaValle was going to vote. I knew his perception of it, but thank you. And it's no, Ms. Allen, it's nothing against the report. It's really long.
I'm good. You know, they used to be monthly reports, and then they went every 2 months, now quarterly. So the latest will give you the latest data, and if you ever need anything else, we can always supply that. We'll still maintain it.
Thank you, Mr. Gregory. A couple little motherhood things. We have 15 attendees online, and when I'm going to take the hit on this because this was sent to me and I missed it. But we're going to have to redo one little thing, and Mr. Temby, you were correct. I read June 16th and it's supposed to be July 16th. So what's that? Oh, okay, sorry, July 21st. See, I messed it up still. Yeah, July 21st. So may we have a motion to approve the Board of Education regular meeting minutes from 21 July 2022?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cloninger?
Aye.
Mrs. Cons?
Aye.
Mr. LaValle?
Aye.
Mr. Salt?
Aye.
Mr. Temby?
Aye.
Thank you. Again, I'll take the hit on that one. Next one is building fund update. Mr. Gregory.
Mr. Garnhart, please.
Well, great. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to give you an update on the construction work that we did this summer. It was a very busy summer, and all has gone pretty well. No real bumps in the road from my perspective. So I've got a slideshow. You'll probably see some photos that will look a little bit repetitive. A lot of roofs that we've done, and it's great stuff though. Next slide, please. We're going to start off with the facilities audit projects. Next slide, please. Okay, so what you'll see in this slide is a couple of photos of the demolition and removal of the Prairie Hills Elementary School boilers. The one on the top is with the boilers and the pumps and all the piping removed. The one on the lower right portion of the slide there is what it looks like once they tear the boilers apart and set it outside before they take and recycle all the metal parts. Next slide, please. And then these are what the new boilers look like. Next slide, please. And this is the 2 red items in this slide are the pumps. And then you'll see the boilers again. Next slide, please. And then you start to see the piping connected. They're almost complete with this. They've got some insulation to put in on the piping and a little bit of some of the controls to put in. And then they'll have that wrapped up by the end of next week. Next slide, please. Now we'll get into these roofing projects. So the first one I'll talk about is some roof that we replaced at Discovery Canyon campus. This view shows, if you look at the highlighted yellow areas, those are the 2 sections of roof that we replaced at DCC, so it's not the whole roof. Next slide, please. And these are just some progress photos taken at different angles on the bigger portion that was shown on the previous slide. Next slide, please. And this is more like what it looks like when it's complete. They still got a little cleanup to do, but the roof is basically complete at this school. Next slide, please. Just some more progress photos of what it looks like. Next slide, please. Mountain View Elementary School. So the highlighted areas in yellow on this slide show the areas of roof that we replaced, really all the flat roofs. There are some slope roofed out there that have some tile shingles on it. Those did not get replaced because it wasn't needed at that time. Next slide, please. And you'll see very similar things to what you saw with the slides from the Discovery Canyon campus roof, some progress photos. Next slide, please. Similar kind of thing. This roof is done as well. Next slide, please. Then we did a few sections of roof out at Pine Creek High School. They're shown with the yellow highlighted areas there. Basically, it was over the music rooms, I believe, a classroom pod, kind of the locker room, portion of the cafeteria area were done. The roofs were replaced there. Next slide, please. And then these are just progress photos of that roof being replaced, different areas, different angles, that kind of thing. Next slide, please. Same kind of thing, progress photos. Thank you. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. And this is more what it looks like when it's complete. Now, the roofs that we did replace out there are completed, so they're done and ready to go. Next slide, please. And then Eagle View Middle School. We're almost complete at that school with the roofing replacement. Same kind of concept here with the slide. The area in yellows were replaced. Then there's the building down in the lower right, or excuse me, left of that slide. It's kind of shaded a blue. We did some maintenance work on that, on the portion of the roof that came up the wall. They call that flashing. So we took the ballast back about 4 feet, ran new flashing up, and then put the ballast back. So it was kind of more of a maintenance kind of project. Next slide, please. It's a similar kind of photos. You'll see that the roof is in progress here. Next slide, please. And then there's what it looks like when it's complete. Then Douglas Valley Elementary School. So we're basically replacing the roof over the gym, cafeteria area, the office area, and the little ramp that goes up to the classroom wing. So the classroom wing we are not doing. Next slide, please. And this is just a progress photo. They'll be done with that roof beginning of next week. Okay, next slide, please. And then Air Academy High School. So there's some areas of roof that we'll be replacing. They just stocked some material up there today, and they'll start that on Monday. It's basically the gym area. There's a small area over the counselor office area, and then a couple sections in Building D. You can see by the highlighted yellow areas, those could be replaced. They'll be done with the areas at Air Academy before school starts. Anything that they don't get done, they'll work on the weekends, and we'll coordinate that with school. The other thing out at Air Academy High School that we've been working on quite a bit is to finish up the sanitary sewer line to that little restroom concessions building. What had occurred there was originally the plan was to tie the sanitary sewer into an existing septic system. And the county wouldn't allow us to do that without giving them a bunch of calculations and resizing that whole septic system. So what we did is we altered the plan and took it into what we call a lift station or a grinder pump, and it'll pump up, and we tied into the existing sanitary system at the school. That only required approval from the United States Air Force Academy, which we received, and it just took a little while to get through that process. But they've got most of that line run. They should finish it up next week. All right, let's get on to the fun stuff now, the renovation remodel projects. And what's that? If you want to see pipe in the ground, that's great. I mean, to me, that's kind of cool stuff. All right, next slide, please. All right, so if you've all driven by Pine Creek High School or in that neighborhood, you saw a concrete building kind of appear out of the ground. So what you're going to see here are a variety of progress photos of them setting that concrete structure. It's called precast concrete. So this was the first panel that they set. Next slide, please. And then you can see these are more panels. So these are panels that are adjacent to the existing south wall, exterior wall of the gymnasium. That was required from a code perspective. They had to have a certain rating there. And then the height of that wall had to be a certain height above the existing wall. Next slide, please. Just some more photos of them setting some concrete panels. Next slide, please. This is a picture of the roof structure. They're called Twin T's. These Each one of these pieces weighs about 60,000 pounds. They're pretty heavy and big, and it's kind of interesting to watch them move those because they go real slow because they don't want to drop it and have some problem with it. It's really neat though. Next slide, please. Same kind of thing. You'll see more progress photos. Next slide, please. Hopefully you're getting the picture of what's going on here. Next slide, please. And this is getting near the end of them having the building in place. Next slide, please. And then the contractor has done, they actually have a person that's licensed to do some drone flyovers. So they provided us with a few drone flyovers. Next slide, please. This is just a different angle of that. Next slide, please. And this is what the structure looks like when it's fully assembled and in place. So where they're at today with that is, as of Tuesday, they had a fair amount of the hole excavated for the pool itself. I'm guessing it's done today. By today, yes. Any question?
I was going to ask, while you're on this picture, could you talk about, I think you might be headed there, but talk about kind of where ground level is in this picture?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you see the openings there will be windows there, and the lower opening, the floor level is going to be just below that. So you can see that seems up in the air quite a bit. The point of that was inside the structure, they were at that ground level already. So when they dig the hole for the pool, it's not going to look as dramatic, I should say. They only had to dig it on the deep end about 6 or 7 feet versus the 12 feet that it will be. Good question. Next slide, please. Okay, then let's talk about the second district stadium at Pine Creek High School. So this is a picture of the foundations in place. Next slide, please. And then the concrete slab for the team room, restroom, concessions building. That's a picture of this. Next slide, please. This is the plumbing going in place. Next slide, please. And then there's some retaining wall that's being put in that will retain the area up above where the fire lane is. And then there'll be a concrete slab poured where the bleachers will go. So I was trying to show that in these two pictures. Today that's done. And as of today, the masonry walls for that team room building are up. They're probably up 7-8 foot right now. So they'll be pretty close to being done with that in the next week or so. Next slide, please. And this is just one of the drone views from that the contractor taken from us, kind of focusing more on the stadium site. Next slide, please. And then document scanning. Next slide, please. So as of today, I was told by the vendor that's doing the document scanning that they should finish up the facilities management documents by tomorrow, and then they'll be ready for the district to download. Moving a little slower than I expected, primarily because they've had some manpower issues. But the next department will be transportation, and then HR probably, and then payroll, and we'll just go on down the line. Next slide, please. Okay, some upcoming work. So if you remember, we started doing a little bit of work on the replacement for the chiller and the cooling tower here in this EAC building. We're going to crank that up in the winter months. The equipment has arrived. I've got a meeting next week to plan out what that's going to look like. We're probably not going to tear any of the old equipment out, the existing equipment out, until the temperatures outside get a lot cooler and we feel confident that we're not going to have comfort issues in this building. And then the Rampart and Liberty swimming pool equipment upgrades. That'll happen in summer 2023. We are currently about 70% through design of that. We plan to replace some more windows as a facilities audit project in the summer of 2023 at Douglas Valley. And then there will be a few other facilities audit projects that we're currently defining the scope of work, and our plan would be to execute those in summer of 2023. Next slide, please. And then some additional projects. Next slide, please. So most of you have seen this. There has been on the CVOC report a line item for design and build a cafetorium at Mountain Ridge Middle School. Well, we issued an RFP, awarded a contract to the team of Nunn Construction and DLR. They're doing some very preliminary design, and then I should get an estimate here probably in about 2 or 3 weeks that I'll know what a budget looks like for that. We're doing something similar for the expansion of the transportation facility, but we're in that evaluation of the RFP process, so we haven't awarded that. And then there's a few other projects listed as possible. The project is funding is available. My current mindset and plan is to have some good budgetary estimates on those, to have some discussions before we bring anything forward to the board, so you can make the best decisions possible. Next slide, please. Any questions?
Ms. Gons.
So thank you so much for all that. With transportation, is it mostly the existing mobile unit that's there? Is it the whole lot that's what's needing to be done?
No, so there were 4 priorities that our
Okay.
Director of Transportation had spelled out. One is there's a modular building there that has his trainers in it, the
Yeah.
training staff. He would like to get them inside of a real building.
Mhm.
That's one priority. Another priority is there is the maintenance bays where the buses are maintained.
Mhm.
It's very crowded. There seems to be not enough room for the mechanics to really work as safe as they could. So that'll be another thing that we got to deal with. He had indicated that he didn't need many more bus parking spaces. So that's still one of his priorities, to add a few more, but not a lot. Okay, so those are the main priorities that we'll be looking at.
Right.
We'll follow the same process. My guess is we'll have a variety of different options with different cost estimates for that, that we can digest to make better decisions with when we get to that.
Or, Ms. Constitute, remember, so one, the lot was redesigned, we'll say, the parking areas a few years ago.
Yes.
Prior to COVID, I think, so decades ago. And it was restriped, if you look at it, kind of angular, so there weren't perpendicular spaces. That, at that time, added the parking spaces needed for buses as the district has grown. The second thing, if you remember, last spring, when Ms. Coldenhoven presented the moving,
Lost a building.
right, the moving some student programming from the grounds there over to Aspen Valley, all of that was going to be included in expanding a transportation facility to include like classroom type settings and some of that. That no longer needs to happen, but they still need additional space. You've been in the room out there that they have, not enough drivers, but still a lot. And there needs to be a place where they can at least do some meet with staff kinds of things. And I think that will be included in it too.
Yes,
But
that's correct. When our Director of Transportation, when I sat down with him and went through those priorities, he said, I really need a little bit more space for everybody that's in the building already. And when you walk through there, it is very crowded for all his staff to work as effectively as they could.
Sure.
So that we don't know what that'll look like yet, but that'll be included.
Absolutely.
I think there's a side note, just as exciting as the roofs and sanitary
Right.
sewer systems. I think there might be a number of restrooms or
Very
commodes
important,
by code that need to be addressed too.
Okay. And then just one more question. This might be for either of Mr. Gregory or you, Mr. Garnhart. With the Pine Creek Football Stadium, is there going to be seating on both sides or just that east side?
No, it'll just be the east side, and it'll seat about 700
That was my other.
people.
Okay.
And the whole intent was it's a smaller venue for activities where there will be smaller spectator attendance, such as soccer, field hockey, lacrosse, JV games. It probably won't be able to host varsity football.
Okay, that was kind of my intent with the question is, are we going to be seeing schedules split for all the high schools for varsity to be
So
playing
just
over
for,
there?
yeah, probably not.
Okay.
Just for relativity, for everybody, I'm put you on the spot, Chris, but do you know the seating capacity at District 20
Yeah,
Stadium?
it's about 4,000 seats.
So
So that kind
Got
of
it,
gives
thank
you a
you.
good.
relatively, that's
to know.
700 to 4,000.
Well, it's beautiful, regardless of how many seats. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Temby.
Chris, you mentioned the pool being done in the spring.
Mhm.
So is that available for community and district use
That'll-
starting summer next year? or,
Well, that'll be up to the school and how they organize that.
Yeah.
I will tell you that the critical path is the electrical transformer that provides electrical power to that building. That comes from Carl Springs Utilities, and it's not scheduled to arrive till near the end of April. When that order got placed, it was a 52-week lead item.
Wow.
In current day, they're out 68 weeks.
Wow.
And when I talked to the gentleman at Carl Springs Utilities a couple weeks ago, he had indicated to me that they only have one other transformer of that size in their inventory that they have to keep for emergency replacement uses in their existing infrastructure. So that's really going to be the key.
So is fall of 2023 safe?
As far as I can tell you, yes. So we'll see how that works out. My guess is the city will be able to accommodate us at the end of April.
Great, thanks for the update.
Just a quick question. The roofs that are being replaced, how long did they last, and how long do we think the new roofs? I know they're not all identical, but how long do we think those new roofs will last?
Actually, the roofing system that we are putting on all those roofs are identical, and they have a 20-year life on them. Okay.
How long did the old ones, the ones that got replaced, when were those replaced?
Some of them were original to the building, so probably 25, 30 years in some cases.
Okay.
That answer your question?
And board, anything else? Thank you, Mr. Garnhart. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Monitor and report. We monitor operational performance. These are executive limitations. We are now going to talk about monitoring report for executive limitation policy 2.1, treatment of students. Mr. Gregory.
Dr. Smith, please.
All right, thank you. I was going to tell Chris, great job. Those are exciting pictures for sure. I'm not sure what a grinder is, a sewage grinder, but probably doesn't sound, don't want to know, really, right? All right, good evening. It's my pleasure to share with you this year's EL 2.1 treatment of students monitoring report. Because this report touches upon so many different areas of responsibility, it truly is the work of the full cabinet, and I'd like to take a quick second to recognize them. So if I get a round of applause for the cabinet, that'd be fantastic. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Susan, for the opportunity, right? Throughout this report, I'll highlight each policy provision statement and how each one of them has been addressed to guarantee that the superintendent is in compliance. The first policy provision statement, and you've received this report in your packet, addresses the handling of student information. Because we've adopted and implemented the Colorado State Records Retention Manual, all information is retained in accordance with the guidance of that manual. And I think it's important to note too that during the monitoring period, there were no complaints filed with the U.S. Department of Education alleging a FERPA violation. The second provision statement addresses corporal punishment. As you're aware, policy JKA physical intervention forbids administration of corporal punishment, and the superintendent and his staff have ensured compliance with this policy. Further, all staff engage in training throughout the year, each year, to make sure that they understand the expectations in this area. And as indicated in the report, all concerns about physical contact have been investigated and addressed individually by our Human Resources Department. And during this monitoring period, we did have 10 instances of physical contact that were investigated. However, none of them were instances of corporal punishment. Mr. Gregory has kept the board informed about all of these instances. The third policy provision statement addresses the school boundary changes. No boundary changes have been made since October 19th, 2017, when the Board of Education approved the recommendations by the Boundary Committee. The recently adopted boundaries are currently being utilized without revision. The fourth provision statement speaks to our crisis management and safety efforts. Safe Schools Policy ADD directs the superintendent to develop a safe schools plan. The district has developed and implemented this plan, which indicates that fire drills are exercised on a monthly basis, and lockdown exercises are conducted every semester. Additionally, a tornado drill, hopefully you'll never have to use it, is exercised each semester, and every school updates their plans annually. All district buildings are required to post evacuation and weather shelter routes in every classroom. The fifth provision statement asks the superintendent to ensure that students are informed of disciplinary policies and practices, graduation requirements, and college entrance prerequisites. We speak in this report the ways that we ensure that students and their families are informed and prepared. Student handbooks are used universally to share information about disciplinary policies and practices, while our individual career and academic plans, or ICAPs, are used to engage families in conversation about their graduation requirements and future career paths. The sixth provision statement asks the superintendent to ensure that students use technology appropriately. As you have read in this report, we have many safeguards in place, and those safeguards have resulted in school partnerships with IT to ensure effective response to any inappropriate activity. Further, all access throughout the district is password protected, and Academy District 20 adheres to SEPA filtering requirements, and SEPA stands for Children's Internet Protection Act. The seventh provision statement speaks to the importance of recognizing student achievement and accomplishments. This is an important focus of all educators throughout the district, and during the monitoring period, Mr. Gregory regularly celebrated student achievements by sending personal notes to them and mentioning achievements of students during administrative comments at board meetings, to name just a few. The eighth provision statement addresses communication practices that ensure complete parent and student understanding of district services. We continue to be in compliance in this area as our efforts are focused on hearing stakeholder voices and ensuring that they are aware of our direction. District and school websites, newsletters, and e-communicator, 20 alerts, and parent academies are some of the communication tools that we've used to consistently and proactively communicate with our community. During the monitoring period, task force work to support the newly implemented strategic plan involves students, staff, and parents. The ninth provision statement is similar to the previous one, and as it addresses the need for communication and ensuring that policies are in place should complaints be filed. As you're aware, all policies are linked to the district's website and are highlighted in other places like student handbooks. Finally, the 10th provision statement, the final one, speaks to the consideration for and importance of student input. We continue to add student to task force and committees as they form throughout the district. During the 2021-22 school year, students serve on the data-driven decision-making task force, as well as the student voice and culture of belonging task forces. In addition, the Superintendent Student Advisory Council is a venue where students speak directly to the superintendent as he seeks their feedback. The Human Resources Department includes high school students on preliminary assistant principal and principal interview teams. This year, the district conducted multiple preliminary interview processes that included students. What questions do you have for me?
Mr. Salt.
Thank you. This is not so much a question, just as a little bit of commentary here that I want to talk about number 2.1.10 here, the student input. I know we've talked a lot about student voice and the importance of that across. And I just wanted to, again, commend Mr. Gregory here with he's got the student advisory group that brings students from across the district in. And going to the graduations, it was a lot of fun watching him be able to call students out by name at the graduations. And, you know, they stood up and they got recognized. And it was really cool seeing their contribution to the district and the relationship that they're able to build with Mr. Gregory. And so I just wanted to comment on that and thank you for the work that you're doing.
The last page is page 7 of 8. Was something left off, or was it just?
No, just a pagination error.
Okay, no worries. I just want to make sure we didn't miss a page. Thank you, Dr. Smith.
All right, thank you.
And just a quick little update for the listening audience. These are they're executive limitations. Mr. Gregory is the executive that this applies to. If you notice, they're always sort of negative. He will not. And these I call these guardrails that we put on the superintendent. Say you can do these things, but you can't go outside of these things. So in case you're wondering, those are the policies that are directly to the superintendent, and we call them limitations because we limit what the superintendent can do, in case you're wondering. Okay, the next one is monitoring report for executive limitation policy 2.6. Oh, sorry, thank you. We have an MRE, monitoring report evaluation, my apologies. This is for treatment of students. Is the superintendent's interpretation of the policy reasonable? Is there sufficient evidence to determine compliance for each section? Are all sections in compliance? Recognition of exemplary performance or concerns regarding performance? Would you like to see additional or different evidence, or should any part of this policy be changed in the next reporting cycle? Do you see any evidence which is extraneous or no longer necessary? So no comments on the MRE? Okay, thank you, Ms. Mattson. Yeah, that's reasonable, I think. Yeah, thank you. Let's put that in. Okay. Next one is, again, 2.6 financial planning and budgeting, EL 2.6. Mr. Gregory.
Ms. Allen, please.
Good evening. Good evening. I am here this evening to present the monitoring report for EL 2.6, which is financial planning and budgeting. And it starts on July 1 of 2021 and it ended June 30 of 2022. It spanned our fiscal year. This EL states that financial planning for any fiscal year shall not deviate materially from the Board of Education's ends, the policies. It should not risk fiscal jeopardy to the district or fail to be derived from a multi-year plan. More specifically, there are 7 policy provision statements. Basically, it requires, and it's interesting that Mr. LaValle just mentioned they tend to be listed in the negative. I'm going to give it in the positive. So the expectation is that our superintendent requires a clear and well-communicated budget and budget process, requires a budgeting process that provides historic data, meaning budgeted, actual, projected revenues and expenditures for each fund. It requires that I disclose, or that the superintendent disclose to you, what the assumptions are that are building the foundation for that budget. It requires that more resources are not spent than what's actually available to spend. It requires an unassigned fund balance amount between 4 and 12% of our budgeted expenditures. And it requires board approval if the budget projects to reduce our year-end fund balance by more than 5%. The monitoring report provides data for each one of these policy provision statements, and a summary of that is that our budget document that was prepared does conform with state laws. It reflects our GAAP, which is generally accepted accounting principles, and GASB standards, which are the Governmental Accountant Standards Board standards. It has historical and current data. It projects future revenue and expenditures, all of which are based upon conservative assumptions that really tend to underestimate the revenue and overestimate our expenses. It's organized and easy to read, and it includes important contextual information about our business, if you will, as a school district in terms of our economy, demographics. It has student performance information, etc. Just one provision that I'm going to highlight for a moment, and then I'll take any questions that you have, is the 7th and final provision statement, which is shown on page 6 of your packet. This provision says that the superintendent is not allowed to present a budget that projects to reduce the year-end fund balance by more than 5% without board approval. Here's what that means. If you were to imagine at the beginning of a fiscal year, the unassigned fund balance is $100. Well, we can't, unless the board were involved with that, present any other type of budget that would be $94 or lower, because 5% of 100 is $5. So 99 is good, 98 is good, all the way to 95 is good. Once you hit $94, 100 has been reduced by 6% to get to $94. So in order for that policy provision statement to still be in compliance, the board would have had to have been involved in that process. So when we look at our 22-23 adopted budget, here are the numbers, not my corny $100 analogy, but the actual numbers. We have a beginning fund balance in this current year budget of $27.7 million. The ending is projected at 25.7. That's a difference, a decline of 2 million. When you do that on a percentage basis, it's just over 7%. So we're over the 5% threshold. But because that was something that was a part of the adopted budget process that the board was a part of, then it's considered still being certainly that policy provision statement is in compliance. As you can see from the report, we certainly believe that Mr. Gregory complied with EL 2.6 and each of its 7 policy provision statements. Before I close and take any questions, I just would like to thank Brian Cortez, Kathy Watts for their good work on this report. Any questions for me?
Mr. Temby.
Just a comment, our budget presentation is one of the finest I've seen. And I think the public taxpayers should appreciate our fiscal transparency. Everything's on the website, and you're certainly available for any questions. And so the lineage from Mr. Gregory to you has been exceptional, and appreciate your stewardship.
Thank you. And I will share those kind words with my teammates as well. Thank you.
Mr. Salt?
Thank you. Thank you for the explanation. I appreciate that. I just wanted to do a quick call out on the first one where we talk about this budget going towards board ends, and that we talk a lot about the ends, and I just want to make a comment about the fact that we're referencing that here and putting it as a priority in our budget, making sure that the dollars we do go towards those ends. So it's not just that we talk about achieving those ends, but we actually are putting our money where our mouth is, so to speak. So thank you for all the work that you've done.
Yeah, good comment. I just want to say, and Mr. Gregory and Ms. Allen, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't recall us ever having the ending fund balance dropping more than 5%, at least since I've been on the board in the last 5 years. I don't think it's happened.
From a budgeting standpoint,
Budgeting.
it's pretty common.
Is that we
Yes.
drop that much?
Yes, for a little bit of perspective.
From a budget standpoint,
From a budget.
not an actual.
Not actual. And this is looking at budget.
Yeah.
So by budget standards, the three that I've presented to you in the past all exceeded. It was 24.3%, 6%, 13%. But again, it's budget. And quite often when we have our audited balances, then it closes that
It
gap.
ends up going back up. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we're being more careful this time to not assume the worst case budget. Am I correct on that? Or are we still sort of planning every single employee is filled?
We are still doing that. However, remember a year ago when the discussion was about an additional one-time payment, and we talked about how we really dug in. Kathy, Brian did great work to say, you know what, we think we're not going to spend $3 million in salaries that we had budgeted for. And remember, we've talked about seeing that kind of each year over the last few years. So we reduced that salary expenditure by that amount. So what that does is, in the past, that 3 million has kind of been there, if you will, and we're taking that out as an expense.
Sort of like almost a
So
buffer, if
it's
you will.
tightening up those numbers and reducing the buffer a bit.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
I'm not going to get down in the weeds, but maybe we can put this as a work session topic if the board chooses. But one of the challenges with timing really is trying to figure out how to say it succinctly. Each year, so let's just say the 22-23 budget, the current budget we're in, was built last spring. So this budget was built on a set of assumptions that included an assumption for an ending fund balance. We don't even know what that real number is until we get to November when the audit is presented. And then it creates the new assumption for the next year. So essentially a budget is built on an assumption of an assumption. So the bullseye is really tough now because you're building assumptions on top of assumptions. And it's cyclical like that every year. That's why I think it's really important in the monthly financials to always look at the actuals, where we are this year compared to the prior year. Because if the prior year we're in pretty good shape, regardless of what the budget was, and we compare what's happening this year 2 years prior, and it's fairly consistent. 70 to 80% of our budget is salaries and benefits. Unless we have a lot of vacant positions, which we have realized over the last couple of years, it's pretty consistent. But we can talk about the assumptions built on assumptions maybe at a work session, but it's a matter of the timing or the law of the farm, if you will, when you put state law on top of state statute timeline requirements on top of when they passed the School Finance Act and some of that, it makes some things really challenging, Mr. LaValle. And again, I won't go any further than that, but maybe at a work session we can talk about that weirdness of the projection of $25 million. I can tell you right now that's not going to happen. It's going to be more than that.
And I also think about it
I like that answer, by the way.
I think about it, when they do a hurricane forecast, right? And it's a week out, they have that cone of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Well, you know, as you get closer and closer, as we move closer to November and then the mid-year budget, we bring that in. That 3 million reduction tightened us up a little bit. It actually is helping us to zoom in on our target a little bit more so that we're able to make those resources available during the budget process instead of waiting until the back end to know, oh, we had it again.
Yeah.
Oh, that 3 million was available. We're trying to say, we're pretty confident it's going to be there. So let's act on that assumption.
And of course, the student count doesn't occur till October, which is where our revenue is based on student count. So yeah, very good. Thank you. Anything else, board? Thank you, Ms. Allen. MRE for EL 2.6, is the superintendent's interpretation of the policy reasonable? Is there sufficient evidence to determine compliance for each section? Are all sections in compliance? Recognition of exemplary performance or concerns regarding performance? What's that? Noted. Noted. Yeah, yeah. Would you like to see additional or different evidence, or should any part of this policy be changed in the next reporting cycle? Do you see evidence which is extraneous, no longer necessary? Very good. Thank you. Next one is the superintendent's reports and resolutions hiring report, Mr. Gregory.
Yes, Mr. Smart, please.
You know, I had to follow Becky, who talked about hurricanes, and now I'm talking about the hiring report. So here you go. Forecast is a little better than maybe predicted. So as you saw, we had over, I don't know, well, almost about 300 folks there at our new licensed staff orientation. So that's good. It's not, you know, it's not perfect forecast, but it's better than what we may have anticipated a few weeks ago. So the other thing I would like to do is thank my team.
Mr. Smart, can we check your mic level? It
Check,
is,
check.
there you go. It's a little bit low.
You know, I can't do anything. Hold on, let me take my shoes off. Let me take.
No,
I tried raising it. It's up as high as it goes. I'm just
sorry.
gonna have to hover over this.
You're just way too tall. Sorry.
I wanted to thank my team, the HR department. They have been working extremely hard. As you know, all applications come to our department and they have to go through those and then screen those first and then get them out to hiring managers, whether it be admin or department managers. And they are working very hard to make sure we're as efficient as possible. And then after they get selected, they come back to us for us to finish the hiring process. So just want to thank them for their efforts. And I think we can go to the next slide. So obviously, hiring is one of the most important responsibilities of any admin, principal, supervisor in our district. One of the things we always ensure is that we have 3 professional reference checks from previous supervisors. And that per EL 2.3 treatment of staff, they all meet the background checks before we move forward with anybody. Next slide, please. This is a little out of date because this was pulled on July 20th. So at that time, it was about 293 teachers that we had hired at that point. We're over that now. 67 of those teachers were on what we call INR contracts from last year. So that was a temporary contract that was not guaranteed to continue. We brought those back there now on a regular contract. And then 21 of those folks are either transitioning, they're retiring, but they're doing a transition year, or they are retirees that we've reached out to or have reached out to us and said, hey, I'd like to get back in the game a little bit.
Cameron, can you say exactly what INR is for folks?
Intent not to return is what that stands for, which means that when we offer a contract on INR, it's explained that this is there's no intent that you're going to return next year in that position. It's basically a temporary position at that point.
Though, I don't know what to say often, but maybe it is often, we actually hire them back, but there's absolutely no guarantees. It's really a one-year contract is what it is.
And as you can see, I mean, that's probably, I'd have to look at averages, but we do hire a lot of those folks back on a regular contract the next year. Sometimes it's just the timing of when that INR contract is offered that we may have already started the school year. And so because of that, they're on an INR for that year. Or it could be, there's other circumstances that require us to offer that kind of contract. Next slide, please.
Oh, can I ask?
Sure.
So on that, thank you. So with the INRs, are those typically offered to people like mid-year, or do we offer those at some point before the year starts?
We have a cutoff of when we, like for right now, any new position that's licensed position that's going to be posted as of August 1st is going to be an INR. Any existing position that's already been posted but hasn't been filled yet, after August 8th, it will be considered an INR. So if it gets filled after that point. And then we do have some that, you know, later in the year, if something happens that we need to hire somebody. Yeah. Yep. And you can kind of see kind of where we've hired staff at. Elementary 110, and these are licensed staff. So that includes teachers, SSPs, and those folks. Secondary, we hired 163. K-12 is really any of those folks that kind of fall into like OT, PT, school psychologists that kind of work at all levels. And that's about 20 folks in that realm. Next slide, please. Again, this number is a little bit off now because it's not quite as many. That's at 54 full-time licensed staff and 17 part-time. We've actually is a little bit less than that now. As you know, we do have some of our licensed positions that are part-time or less than full-time. So
This is the part that's our challenge.
Yeah.
Right? We just said earlier, next week returning teachers come back. The week after that, students come back, and the environment or the shortage of teachers out there are really problematic. And it's not just a District 20 issue. It's all over the place. If you don't mind, Mr. Schmidt, a quick statistic that was, and I apologize, but I can't cite the source because I didn't catch it. But last week at CASE, this was a hot topic across all school districts in Colorado. One example, if you take all of the colleges and universities in Colorado, private, public, doesn't matter, all of them in Colorado, I won't make you answer, but just in your mind, how many do you think, how many folks graduated? I don't know if it includes the Air Force Academy, sir. I doubt that it does. That might throw off my numbers, but how many folks graduated with a math degree? Just in your head. Just total number. Yeah, not enough. That's the answer. But I believe if I remember right, the number was 80. 80. The number of math teaching positions. So forget about all the other industries, by the way. This is just math degrees, not math degrees for teachers, but math degrees. Of those 80, you know how many stayed in Colorado after they graduated? 50%. So now we're down to 40. And if I can guarantee you, just in the Pikes Peak area, there were probably 40 math teachers needed. So, you know, forget about the large Denver districts, any of that. That is an example of the issue we're dealing with, and it's really the STEM areas, math, science, for sure. And then our biggest challenge, because math and science aren't driven by federal law, still a problem, but there's not law behind it, is special education, because that is driven by law, and there are a desperate need of all kinds of special educators across Colorado. I don't have a statistic like I did for math, but it tells the story of what the situation is, and it's incredibly challenging. Sorry, Mr. Smart.
No, that just brings light to the difficulty we're in right now. And again, not just us, everybody's in the same boat. And actually, so that number right there was what, about 71? We're down to about 55 total licensed vacancies. So we've kind of dropped that number down a little bit as of today. Next slide, please.
And I believe the real problem is some of those have 0 applicants.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the challenge is if we had a few applicants, you have some, I'll use the word hope. I don't know if hope's the right word or not, but when you have 0 applicants for some of these positions, that's a real challenge.
Yeah, and that's what we're running into at this point. As you can see, we had 24 of our District 20 graduates that we hired, 40 District 20 student teachers. So these were teachers or interns that were with us last year, completing their student teaching that we hired into the district. Again, 67 teachers that were in INR last year. 57 of our teachers of the almost 300 that we hired were beginning, so that means brand new, first year, didn't have any experience. 5 new teachers were classified staff members with us, so they had been in a classified position in past year or last year, and now they are now a teacher for us. So that's good. We're being able to kind of build our own and grow our own a little bit. 35 from out of state or another country, most of those out of state. Last year, I think we had 36, and a couple of years, the last few years before that, we had about 20 plus per year. So on average, about 28 of our teachers seem to be coming from out of state. We did do some recruiting out of state this year. We went to several job fairs outside of Colorado. We were able to get a few teachers by going out and looking for those folks. And then 164 have a master's degree, and 5 of those teachers or licensed staff have doctorate degrees.
Mr. Smart, if I may, the 164, that's out of the 293?
Yeah.
That's an impressive number when you think about that. I just a comment, and 5 doctorates out of 293. I think those are impressive numbers.
Yeah, and I think you noticed even last year, I think we saw the same kind of trend. We have a lot of teachers that we've hired that have experience, more than 5 years. So we've got a lot of folks that have been in the teaching pipeline for a while. Next slide. And this just kind of tells you where our beginning teachers got some of their degrees from. Obviously, a lot of them from Colorado, 50, and then a few other states. Surprised we don't have any Wyoming ones up there, but next year I'll get some. Okay. What'd you say? Kansas? That's not up there either. All right. Next slide, please. This just kind of shows you some of our graduates that used to go to school here who are now teaching for us. And so the next few slides are just who they are, what school they attended, or what school they're at now, and what subject they're teaching. So from Air Academy, you can see those are the students from there. And it's great to see our students come back and join our districts now as teachers after going through the system. Next slide. And Discovery Canyon. Only one. We'll get more from there. And then Liberty. Next slide. Pine Creek had a lot as well. Next slide. Rampart. Okay, and classified, we've hired at that point again, this was July 20, 67 classified staff hired. A lot of our classified, because of the fact that we have that break where we're not in school, and a lot of our positions for classified are when students are here, a lot of the hiring for classified happens right now, because if we hire somebody at the end of May, beginning of June, they don't start for 2 months. Sometimes it's hard to keep them around because they're like, well, I'm not earning a paycheck now for 2 more months. So that has been ramped up now since principals have come back from their summer break, and we expect that to continue to go up again. Finding some candidates for some of our positions is still proving to be a little difficult. Next slide. And this just kind of shows administrators, and that actually we had 2 more on there that aren't on the list. As we had some APs tonight. Shows you how many vacancies we had. So you can see we did a lot of hiring in the admin area this year, and then the average number of applicants per position there. Next slide. That's it. So any questions?
Mr. Temby.
So, Mr. Smart, there's certainly headwinds out there. What's the consensus of your peers? Is this going to be a struggle at the same level next year, or are we really getting into some dire straits out there in terms of pipeline, retention, all those issues? What?
I think it's all.
This is a non-binding question, by the way, but
we believe we're still in the middle of trying to get it turned around. We feel like the pipeline is a big issue. Getting folks believing and encouraged to say that education is where they want to be, and that the impact they can have in education. I feel education is obviously a great career, but helping people to see that. And then our own resources we have here. How can we grow our own folks? How can we take, like we said, with classified staff that want to become teachers, how can we help with that process? Student teachers, encouraging student teachers to come into our district and stay with our district after they complete their assignment. What other factors could we do to draw people not only to the district, but to specific positions in our district, special education being one of those, math, science, those kind of things. I don't think we're out of the woods, and I think now I'm not, I can't do a forecast, say it'll be better or worse next year, but I think we have to be aggressive in our approach to how we retain and recruit.
Any epiphanies from this year's process? Because at this point, you're really stealing market share too, right?
We are. We're all fishing in the same pond.
Yeah. And so differentiators for this district couldn't be more important.
Right.
In terms of how we value the profession, how we take care of them. We walk the talk from a leadership standpoint at the site-based, with a site-based model. So it's critical. This is, nothing's more important than what's going on in our classrooms right now.
Yep. And I tell you, one of the things I would like to thank communications as well. We have, even last year when we started, as we geared up for our job fair in March, we've continued to work with them to help promote the vacancies we have, the increases in salaries, increases in classified wages, to get the word out. Because oftentimes we may think everybody knows, but if you're not out there looking, and some people don't always look to education specifically in some of the classified roles, and then all of a sudden if we can get the word out, like, oh, hey, I didn't think of that, that might be a good place for me to be. That's another thing we're trying to do. I think we had a little bit of communication go out, and I believe we have more coming out in the next few weeks. We also do have another job fair that we're going to do on August 27th. That'll be both for licensed and classified as well.
Mr. Timmy, if I may, I don't want to, I think that's an essential question. And the first part of your question kind of is how long, right? Is this, my worry is that it's longer than a couple years, because the pipeline that we're talking about is the traditional path is a 4-year degree. And we know, Dr. Field and Dr. Smith and I last week, 2 weeks ago, sometime recently, met with the Commissioner of Higher Education in Colorado remotely, and shared, we kind of took our time to share our concerns around our colleges producing teachers. Now, they don't have total control over that either, because it's choice. And that's where I would start my comments off, is until people start choosing, until our young people out of high school start choosing to be in the field of education, it's going to be a problem. And I'm not even, the math example I gave was a content area. Of those 40 folks that are left in Colorado, 35 of them may not have chosen to go the education route. They may have went another route. So until folks start choosing, and then we can start discussing root causes for their choices, if so, but we probably don't have that much time. I just think it's a longer problem. What have we done? There is, a communications campaign. The board, did some, I would use the word aggressively address some of the salary components. It's not the fix. I think it's one step of many that we need to take. I readily admit that not everybody in this community is 100% behind a strategic plan, but we sat with 300 people yesterday, throughout the day when we rotated through. These people had already committed to come here, but you know what caught their attention the most? Was the value for people. And a lot of these folks didn't come out of college to us. They came from other places. And their comments, and Allison or Jim were in the same room I was. If I'm wrong, then please speak up. But many of the comments I heard was, wow, it's nice to hear on the first day of orientation that people are the heart of your success. That phrase was risen up many times from folks who came from districts, neighboring districts, I'll just leave it at that, or other districts out of the state. That was the first thing that kind of captured them. So as I would say one of the differentiators we have, now we got to live it and we got to show it, but one of the differentiators we have is simply that, right? Our ends are about knowledge, skills, and character. There's no doubt about it. But how we get there, we can't do it without people. And we can't do it without, I won't say the right people, but good people. good people that are good teachers. So there's many aspects. I would even, I'm going to say this, we've investigated in Colorado, outside of Colorado, and potentially even wider than that, outside of the United States, to try to find the best people for our kids in our classrooms. But there are some real challenges, and we don't control all of it, right? We can do as much as we can, but I think it's that first piece is our high school, we call it the teacher cadet program, where high school students can start down the path of entering the field of teaching while they're in high school. And we even brought that up with the Commissioner of Higher Education is, how can we do a better job with that, even that transition from, essentially our question was, can't colleges recognize what we're trying to do in high schools and give some of those kids a bit of an advanced start, maybe with some college credit for some of this stuff, because we're also competing with universities across the world that don't require a 4-year degree, it's a 3-year degree in other countries. So it's a multifaceted issue that's really tough to get our arms around. And I will say that it's new, frankly, for District 20. This has been an issue for other districts for quite a while. It's now reached District 20, where we've always said we're a destination district, we're attractive, but that's not enough anymore. There's got to be other elements. So I'll stop there. Thank you.
Well, there's a saying, deeds, not words. And so it's so critical with our strategic plan to really live that every day. And it's hard. It's hard to do that every day and to show that is a differentiator for us. But thanks for all your efforts, Cameron, to you and your team, and to everybody who was part of the hiring process. It's yeoman work. So thank you.
Ms. Cloninger?
I have a lot of thoughts about this, and I'm just going to be brief tonight, but I just want to acknowledge that this board does not have one single educator sitting on it as far as the 5 elected. And I think that is also something that's maybe a little disheartening to those educators who are listening and who are in the district, to be the walk the walk kind of a thing. So with that acknowledgement, I just want to let the educators who are in this district recognize that I believe that, and I can only speak for myself, obviously, that I need to continually be educated myself about what their frontline issues are. I recognize that this is not an easy fix, or that there is, a whole group of people that are not going into this profession. And I would say that the way that we treat our teachers, and not just during the week of Educators Week, but the fact that there are so many parents that attack them, is a really dangerous thing for our securing those positions. And so I guess I would just say, in my opinion, as we go out through the next few weeks of starting school, is find ways to support our teachers and to encourage them to do the work that we know that they're there to do. And I think we have amazing educators, and I'm grateful for them. I wondered also, with the fact that we have INR positions, how it works with already hiring long-term subs instead of INR, because I know that that's happened, and I don't understand why. I mean, is it qualifications? Why would we be going that route? First off, I worry about the level of education that some of, especially our higher, our seniors and high school kids are going to be getting. And I don't mean to put this on a negative spin, but it is a concern. I think, MLOs and things like that, those are all really important to the trajectory of this district.
Any other, Ms. Cons?
Thank you, Mr. Smart, for the report. With our vacancies, which are hopefully less than 71 now, like you said, a few, what does that mean immediately for the students coming back?
Yeah, well, we actually at our return lead team retreat, we actually had each level, so elementary, middle, and high school, met with each other as colleagues to kind of talk about what each of them are trying to do to mitigate that. So whether that's reaching out to retirees to say, hey, would you be willing, even for a semester, to come in, looking at, is there any way to condense what they have to, make, classes maybe a little larger, but then they could have an additional staff to use. Looking at subs, is that an option? Putting things out to their community. We did ask them to put out to their individual communities from them. Here's the vacancies we still have. Here's, starting pay, just to try to really see if there's anybody in their own community that may say, hey, I didn't realize you still had a need. And as we hire subs, we're looking at that as well. So some of that is, do the subs have the qualification to be in there? And that's what we're always trying to do, is match up. Make sure if it's English, that person has some sort of English background that will help facilitate that person being able to. So we're looking at all options.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Smart. I just wanted to highlight the graphs that you had of the Academy District 20 students that came out. I think that was great. And so I appreciate you putting that together for me. It was a really fun few slides to look at.
I did have, and I may have missed it, but were you able to, or did you capture, I think we did this in years past, the number of teacher applicants per hire? If you didn't, that's fine.
Here's what I can tell you. It's very difficult to, like, by level, by elementary, middle, and high school. So I can tell you this year we had a little over almost 1,040 individual candidates apply for positions. Now that means they may have applied for multiple positions. So I may have had one candidate put out 5 or 6 applications, because they may have said, okay, there's a teaching position at this school, this school, this school, so I'm going to apply for all those 5 schools. So one applicant could have multiple applications. That is down about almost 300 from last year. So total number of candidates, individual candidates that have applied to our district, is down about almost 300. So that's also one of the reasons we're seeing that there's an issue, is we just don't have quite the same number as we have in the past. And we have a few more positions than last year to fill. So it's kind of negative both ways in that sense.
How long has the teacher cadet program at DCC been around? I don't think it's been long enough to, if you will, generate a college graduate. I don't think. Does it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not been that long.
Yeah.
To get somebody all the way through college and then ready to teach.
But I know it was I spoke there a couple of years ago. I think it just seems like a wonderful program. They actually asked to talk about, they want to hear somebody to talk about what the board is and what we do. I just thinking out loud, and I'm not advocating, I'm just wondering, is there any thought of doing that perhaps at any of the other high schools? I don't know.
I can tell you that HR has talked about how could we increase that program through other schools as well.
One of the dilemmas this creates, so this is an example, right? Kind of follows Ms. Khan's question just now too, is, the growth of a program, find the right words, the decision to grow a program is based on participation, right? Wow, we got a overflowing program at DCC, let's grow it to other schools or other opportunities. We're not at that point. And we're also not at a point where principals have the flexibility within their staffing to run a class that might have 8 students, even though there are 8 students who want to be teachers. But if we don't have the flexibility, a principal says, no, I can't do that because I need, this other class that has 30 students in it to run. I can't allow a class to 8 to go. So it's all of those balancing components that principals are having to do. But we'd love to, I would tell you this, the other, we always talk about college, students matriculating through college to become teachers. I found out this week in talking to, some of the folks who were at the new teacher events, some of their frustrations, which we will follow up on too. And they were career changes, finished a career, want to change, whatever it is, but the process in Colorado for, somebody who's worked in a career for 20, 25 years, have an expertise, have the background, have the education, all of that stuff. It's really challenging in Colorado for them to jump right into teaching. And that's we don't have control over that, but I can assure you that's something that I've started talking about and will continue to talk about. And if we can control some of that, help that a little bit, even locally within our school district, then we'll do whatever we can to make it easier for folks to transition from one career, from a non-education career into teaching, and make that as seamless as possible too, because it's another avenue, right? And we see that you've heard people say that it's, the 300 folks approximately, or 250 folks that were sitting in that room, the average age was not 23, not even close. So, maybe that's the next, I don't know, market or pool of folks we need to attack or attract, and that's the just career changes. Military possibly also, veterans, there's programs, maybe we need to look more into, veterans after a military career and make it, again, it's that process of, having to check all the boxes before you can teach with a license. Maybe there's ways to do something about that too.
Board, anything else? Thank you, Mr. Cameron. Mr. Smart.
Whatever you want to call me. I have a lot of names. Thank you.
Board, was our business this evening focused on activities that promote and honor our mission statement, our belief statements, and our global end statement that reminds us that all students will have the knowledge, skills, and character necessary for successful transition to the next level, and upon graduation will be fully prepared for success? This meeting